Hey there guys, it's Metro, and today we're back with another grinding guide. Just like the previous video, this is going to be pretty much a follow-up straight up, taking from right where we left off and going towards the mid-20s. Just a little bit of a caveat here. The reason I am grinding only until about 44-ish to 45, depending on what class I'm playing, is because that's when questing starts to become very high density and much higher value. And it's also around the time that you should have your mount. I don't always have my mount right at 40, but usually I'm at a situation where if I grind from 40 to say 44, I would have then enough gold to buy it afterwards, or it would give me enough time to accumulate some rested and I would acquire the gold on another character. So this is heavily what I would suggest, especially on the fresh start server. Once people get into the 20s and 30s, this is going to become a lot more difficult. A lot of these grinding spots are, they're very, very, very good when you're alone, but there's going to be competition. Early zones are one thing, but a lot of people are just going to have nothing else to get experience from at this point. So if you're unlucky and you run into a lot of people, all I can say is just try to persevere. These are the best spots in my opinion, and this is how I've leveled every single character on this server, including the one you're seeing on the screen there. So if you have any questions about any of that stuff, let me know. Otherwise, let's get right into it. So another thing to be aware of is that these spots are no longer specific to either Horde or Alliance, but this one especially, the first set here, are going to be broken down by which you should prefer. This is going to be the Alliance one, and it is of course in a heavily contested zone. Everybody knows this, but I find this zone to be a very ripe grinding zone because a lot of people are off messing around, wasting their time, or there's a lot of quests in this zone that could be of value for sure. So, you find all these beasts out in this zone and there's just nobody there. Even when there's 60,000 people online, you know what I mean? No matter how many people are online, it always seems to be plenty of beasts to grind here. So as you see, I am going up and down this area and it is extremely open, wide open. In fact, plenty of mobs. You really are only going to need about 5 to 10 mobs to be able to grind effectively on the fresh start realm. I've talked to a bunch of people recently who are saying that even on the old PvP realm, however few people are still leveling at this point in the early zones, that mobs are respawning within a minute after you kill them. So that is insane. That means if that's the case, like if it's actually going to be even faster on the new realm, you're only going to need 2 mobs, or it might even get to a point where you can just stand there, attack a mob, and when it dies, you wait 10 seconds, drink mana or whatever, and it comes back. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but anyway, now this is the Horde spot. All right, this is just by it's closer to the Horde town. The first one was closer to South Shore. Okay, so that's kind of the big difference. But anyway, yeah, this is a tough level here. The early 20s are when a lot of people try to head here, but I'm like a mid-20s guy for here. Like I said, I'll try to stay in the Barrens if I'm Horde. If I'm Alliance, yeah, I haven't made that video yet, but I'd imagine there'll be somewhere else to start. But regardless, this is a really good area here. Don't touch that griffin. That griffin's way too high. But everything else is really easy. They're just beasts that basically have nothing. You know what I mean? They just attack you and that's it. So this is how the shaman I showed you, I grinded the spot and it was really quick. It's like a 2-hour level here and it's not too bad at all. Once you get the hang of grinding, especially, depending on your class, you'll find yourself able to push the limits a lot more, pull things quicker, do all that. But anyway, yeah, so now down here, we're just kind of on the other side of the road here, as you saw on the map. This is going to be where I like to try to get to about 29. It's not too dangerous, but there could be a lot of traffic coming through here because they might be going for the dwarfs or those Naga that I just clicked on there. Those are quest mobs, and the dwarfs to the side of this area are quest mobs as well. But this is another really high value, a lot of easy beasts, and typically there's not a lot of people, but this time it seems like somebody is grinding it. So like I said, there's going to be a lot of competition. You really just can't do much about it, but once you get the hang of it, and you might even have to do a little bit of PvP as you see there, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too dangerous. So, and then the next spot here, this one's interesting. I only recently added this one to the arsenal. I am really surprised that there's nobody here right now. This is really, really high value, okay? And you just go up and down like this coast on the way to Lordaeron. Now, the one definite bad thing about this is, well, the one good thing here is that you're not going to run into random traffic, all right? There's no reason to be down this part, all right? There's a little bit of stuff going on as we get a little more north. but the Dalaran area is like an exclusive Horde place, and even then, nobody's going to come all the way around to the left side of Dalaran there to come to you, okay? So you're just not going to encounter any other players that aren't grinding here. But on the bad side, you're probably going to have a lot of people run by you who are looking to do Scarlet Monastery, the dungeons up there. This is like the route a lot of people try to take. They try to like hug this lake bed and just go all the way around, and then they like do this weird thing through Undercity. But anyway, that is probably going to happen, all right? But regardless, this area is lightning. It's unbelievable how fast. These mobs are so easy as well, and they do nothing, and they're just perfect to grind on. They're like prime time grindage. They're some of the best mobs in the game to grind. Now they're elsewhere in the zone and there's like a stealth mob there. I just wanted to show that, so keep an eye on that. But yeah, you see just up the lake bed. They're elsewhere in the zone, but you don't want to grind them there because they're just way too high profile. Anyway, now we're into the 30s. Okay, so at this point, this is where I like to head to Arathi. You know, like all of these zones are close together that we're doing here for at least the first two sets are close together. And once again, just a lot of really cheap beasts. These are a little bit tougher. Once you're getting into your 30s, you got to decide where your character is. He's either going to, depending on what you play, around 30, it's either going to become very strong or very weak. Like, so this happens on Warrior all the time. Like when I'm approaching 20, I always feel like I'm relatively strong. Like I'm as strong as I can be. But then from like 25 to like 35, well, I guess to 30, and then you get the axe. I feel like the talents aren't helping me at this point, and the things I'm attacking are doing more damage than I have, like health and all this. So you have to kind of make that decision. But if you're strong enough for this, then it's very simple. But you just end up there by the west binding stones. Now this one is another great one. This might be a little bit too high profile. There's a lot of people here already, and this is just the old server. But regardless, there's a lot of freaking mobs. A lot. All right. So there's no reason 7 to 10 people can't all farm here effectively. You know what I mean? So I'm just going around the edge here. There would be mobs all around there as well. They're not up currently because that druid was killing them. 2 in the cave. And then you kind of go around the backside here. All right. There's like a little bow that you could kind of follow around. See, it goes all the way out. And there's actually another mob to the right that I'm not clicking on. But yeah, and then you kind of follow around by that little wall there, and then back around by the trees up towards that other cave, and then you're back at where you started. So this is where I would grind alone if I was. It would take the whole path for them to start respawning. But as you can see here, there's a few people here already, and then yeah, there's a couple more up here. But now that one's an elite, so don't go up there. But anyway, this was a great spot, and you get a lot of cloth too. I made a lot of money there. And then around, you kind of have to make the decision. That's 34-ish, I don't know, 35-ish, depending on what you're playing. And here's another option. This is what I like to do. Usually, if there's too many people there, I'll come here instead. There's almost guaranteed to be nobody farming these mobs, but there is a lot of Alliance and Horde activity in this area because a lot of Alliance mages are going to go try to farm the... it's like, I don't know, the Goshek farm or something like that. And then a lot of Horde will be running by it because it's right by their quest hub. So yeah, you might get some ganking. But anyway, these spiders are pretty high density. There's like 2 right next to each other up there. I don't know. It's interesting. They're easy to kill. They put a venom on you, but I don't think it does too much. And then there's random yellow birds around this area. And you can kind of extrapolate this area, as you're going to see me do here, towards the northern half of it as well, to get another level or 2 out of this area if you like. But I did want to warn you guys officially, this is definitely a mob type that you're going to probably see a lot of people killing, and it's because it is for a Horde quest, I'm pretty sure, only. So it's like you have to kill these raptors, and they're kind of a low drop rate. So this is like one of those good grinding quests. If you're Horde, you might as well pick it up anyway. I would definitely recommend doing that since you're going to be killing these mobs anyway, and you just came from the flight path. But yeah, and then those ogres too, I usually farm the hell out of. But once again, you see they're for quests, so there's just going to be a lot of people up here. So this is probably not the best place to be. So I'm going to show you guys an even cooler option. But yeah, if you want to get something out of here, you totally can. It's usually on when the server was packed. This is where I farmed to about 38, and sometimes I think I would even go closer to 40 in this area. So now we'll check out another option. This is now we're headed into the next zone that we're going to go to, and this Dustwallow Marsh. And it, of course, is, there's a lot of elites in this zone, but there's a lot of mobs, like high-density mobs as well. So I'm showing you these intermittent mobs here, but it's a freaking pain in the ass because you keep getting dismounted because of the water. This zone is terrible if you're trying to run through it. But anyway, so here's all these raptors, all right? This is like the bread and butter of what I was trying to show you here. They're all over the place, and they're probably going to be a target for people AoE farming. I tried to AoE farm them on a few classes, and it's just a little bit too difficult. But regardless, there are a lot of these raptors up in this area. So if you're somebody who you think you can pull 3 or 4 of these at once in some way, then I would recommend coming here anyway. But regardless. So the reason I think this is a good idea on the new realm is because they will be dying in such volume that they'll be respawning so freaking quick. It'll be unreal. So I would definitely try this spot out. And at best, you can kind of just troll the people who are trying to do that. Like, if there's like 10 people there, they're not going to be able to AoE farm. So anyway, now we're at the next spot, and of course, at this point, we're still getting dismounted. But here we go. This is usually where I finish off here going into the 40s. And I like this area a lot. Once again, just high-value beasts. I do want to warn you, the spiders put like it slows your movement speed and your attack speed, I'm pretty sure. So if you can't dispel so if you're a warrior, don't attack the spiders. Just attack everything else. If you're somebody who could dispel the poison, then you probably should use the mana on it every time because it's going to drastically lower your grinding rate. But regardless, you could even just avoid them, or you could just kill one every few minutes or something. But yeah, there is a lot of freaking beasts and good easy targets here. So this is a really a very valuable zone if you ask me, because it's pre the TBC patch where it adds all the really good quests and changes the elites to regular quests, and then you can finish up right here by this tower. But anyway, it's a really freaking good value if you ask me. Now there's the other option here. These turtles are pretty much similar to the turtles we showed off earlier. They're very easy kills. They do nothing, but they are probably, if anybody comes here at all, you're probably going to struggle to get tags because there's not a ton of them. You have to walk a pretty far amount, but now there should be some in between. I don't know why there's none. Maybe somebody killed one and it's just respawning, but regardless, there's a lot of them. They could drop some nice grays too, if I remember correctly. And this is usually where I farm on kind of like I want to get some more out as an alliance. Like it's right by Theramore, So it's like I just want to get a little bit of grinding in today. I don't want to run all the way across the zone and spend 4 hours here, kind of thing. So this is like a nice area, and it goes right up into the Murloc area, which hopefully you guys have seen. A lot of people AoE, like that is the go-to. That's like the first real AoE farm for mages. This in the Goshek farm or whatever, the farms in the other zone there. So now we're here into the 40s. This is a very, 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 very nice spot as well. There's so many freaking mobs in here. Once again, you'll see people AoE grinding down here. And dude, there is like 20 mobs in this small area. So if you can pull them all one by one, you're going to get very high density EXP per hour. But anyway, I like to go in there, pull a few of those, and go around this hill, and then double around these bones. I always try to use the bones as a landmark to where we are, and then you go up around the hill. Now on the other side of this hill are those elite dragonkins that are for that quest. So you might run into some people trying to do that quest, but realistically, everybody just avoids this zone because, like I was saying, there's no good quest in this zone in Classic. It's really a great example of how poorly questing and leveling in general in Classic was designed. It takes another expansion to add enough quests to some of these zones for them to be relevant. But regardless, these raptors are definitely relevant. They do put some type of, I think it's like a disease on you. But anyway, it's worth doing one way or the other. It doesn't make you do that much less damage. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up here with a very interesting spot that I have a lot to say about, okay? I kind of stumbled across this by accident. There is a quest to kill these whelps, and it is marked as elite. So I was like, I'll come down here with some people and do it. And I realized there's some non-elites. So we killed the non-elites. They die pretty easily, but there are some elites down here as well, okay? Now I click on one of these elites, all right? They have, this is a trick, okay? Listen up very closely here. In World of Warcraft Classic, elites give double the experience of their non-elite counterpart. Like just by changing them to elite in the code or whatever, they give 2x experience, okay? So if you come here with rested and you kill these elites, you're going to gain like over 1,000 experience per mob. That's insane. That's like 2 mobs and you got almost as much as the quest is going to give when you turn it in, okay? But they're elites. There's no way you'll kill them, right? No. They are extremely fragile. Now, not those. Don't kill those dragonkin, all right? We're only after the whelps. I've seen a lot of people come in here, charge into those dragonkin, and just die in one shot, all right? Those things are not easy to kill. But the reason the whelps are easy to kill is because all the damage they do is this fireball cast. Now, it does a lot of freaking damage. Don't get me wrong. Hits me for about 1/3 of my health every time it gets off. But they seem to have, like, no armor. Like, one crit does about 50 to 60% of their health. So on a melee, you know what I mean? Now, I don't know about a spellcaster. I've never leveled a spellcaster in Classic, not once, not a single time, so I don't know what it would be like as a mage or something. But regardless, you should be able to kill these mobs very, 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 very easily. Like, you should have absolutely no problem doing so. And that's just that. You gain a lot of experience. Like, I'm telling you, if you have rested, you'll be gaining over 1,000 experience per kill. And this is a place that you can kind of grind from. You know, like I have it there, plus. Like, you can get as high as you want to get here without any issues, and it's just easy mode, especially if there's no competition. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions about grinding, I'd love to answer them. A lot of people seem, confused about the gear and stuff like that. But like I said in the previous videos, you're going to have to find gear somewhere. You're going to spend the money you're making here on gear too. So it should not be that big of a deal. But I hope you guys all enjoy the Elysium Fresh Start server, and that's that. We'll see you guys there.